earlier, we were contacted by members of a community in the district who are having issues with their water and sewer department. Now, I'm not going to be specific about their issues yet because their issue is actually quite complicated, and until we can learn more, I don't want to say too much. But what I can say is that their issue, while more complicated than most, is probably pretty representative of what a lot of people experience when they're dealing with their water, sewage, garbage, that type of thing. Because I know in the city of Sacramento, we face similar issues where we seem to be receiving less and less service for higher and higher costs, and we don't really seem to understand why. It's one thing to understand why costs are going up or why service has to change. People can understand that, but we no longer trust our systems to be telling us the truth on how we got to this position and how we're going to get out of it. We've seen far too often false promises, misspent money. So as we examine this specific issue, what I do want to talk about is it brings up the much needed issue of transparency. If we are going to fix these issues that exist all throughout our governments at all layers, from the water department to the legislature, we're going to have a refocus on transparency. Trust is at an all-time low. Nobody trusts their systems anymore. The systems that have put in place to do things like simple things like water and sewer, while not individually simple, we want them to be simple. We as individuals want them to be simple. We pay a lot of money so that it can be simple for us. So when we ask questions about, hey, wait a minute, why are we being charged more and getting less service? And they're just saying, trust us. They use a lot of jargon. They use a lot of strange bookkeeping that average people can't understand. So what I call for in this case, and a potential future solution, let me rephrase that. A potential future solution to this type of problem isn't just a refocus on transparency. That's a given. But if these kind of organizations that have been given monopolies by the government, whether they be government agencies or private businesses who have been given a garbage contract, they must operate under far greater transparency than they are now. And that starts with, if you're going to ask for an increase in services or an increase in rates or a decrease in services, they should first have to go with an audit, an independent audit to find out where the money is going, and also an operational audit to make sure they are operating within some reasonable frame of efficiency. We don't expect hyper efficiency, but we want to make sure we're not spending money stupidly. And so while individual issues can get very complicated with the federal government involved, the state government involved, and the local government often just trying to comply. But if we can't see that, if we can't see why they're struggling, we can't help them fix it. We live in a culture of fear. We're all afraid to have done something wrong because when something goes wrong, we're all afraid of being punished. Accountability shouldn't be about punishment. Accountability should be about improvement. But we have a mindset all up and down the government where, and including ourselves, it's not just the government, we do this too. When something is wrong, we must punish somebody, and that somehow magically creates a solution. But it doesn't. There are times when punishment is necessary. But for the vast majority of times, what we actually want is compliance. What we actually want is life to get better. We want clean water. We want sewer that works. We don't want to pollute our rivers with our discharge. And we are okay if we have to pay more to do that. But we want to make damn well sure that what we are paying is going to do that. And if there is a problem, If a problem has developed and has festered, we can't fix it if we can't see it. And we can't see it if those in power are afraid. And so we either need to help them not be afraid or hire people with more courage. And that's a choice us voters are going to have to make. Which route do we go? Where does it start? Does it start with you? Does it start with me? It's got to start somewhere. So before I bloviate too longer, take care of yourselves. All the smoke and all the fires, we extend our best wishes. I never have the proper words for these kind of things as a tragedy is ongoing. There's people whose livelihoods are being lost. There's been lives lost, and it's just a human tragedy. And so if you can help them, find some way to help them. If you can't, you're in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Good night. Love everybody.